Stop waiting, stop hoping, stop begging for a break. No one is coming to save you, no mentor, no miracle, no money, no motivation. You're looking around for a rescue team when the only person with the power to change your life is staring back at you in the mirror. That's the cold truth. That's the brutal beauty of it. Because once you accept it, you become unstoppable. The world doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't flinch at your pain. It's not ignoring you, it's testing you. Every delay, every betrayal, every setback is a question: how bad do you want it? Most people quit because they're waiting for someone to notice them, validate them, help them, but those people never make it. Winners know that salvation is self-made. You don't need a rescue, you need a revolution inside you, a fire that doesn't go out just because you're tired, a standard so high that it crushes mediocrity with every breath you take. When you stop expecting help, your brain stops outsourcing responsibility, and that's when your true power wakes up. You stop playing victim. You start planning victory. You want success? Earn it. You want freedom? Build it. You want greatness? Then become it. Life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you demand through discipline, grit, and relentless focus. The world bows to the few who are too determined to be denied, not to those who sit around waiting to be discovered. Every second you waste wishing for someone to come along and fix your life is a second stolen from your future. Get angry, get clear, then get moving, because the only plan that works is the one where you execute it like your life depends on it, because it does. There is no perfect timing, there is no safety net. There is only now, only you, and only the work. Excuses will lie to you. They'll tell you you're not ready, that you need help, that someone else has it easier. But the truth is, you have everything you need. If you'd stop lying to yourself and start becoming who you were meant to be, you weren't made to be saved. You were made to be forged through the fire of pressure, rejection, and hard choices. Let pain shape you, not shatter you. Let struggle become your fuel. Let loneliness sharpen your focus. There is no cavalry on the horizon. There is only the sound of your own footsteps walking into battle, unafraid, unassisted, and on a mission. The life you dream of is real, but it's buried under layers of comfort, fear, laziness, and doubt. You won't find it by waiting. You'll find it by digging deep, day after day, until your hands bleed and your back breaks and your mind screams enough. But you keep going. That's when you rise. That's when the world takes notice. That's when everything changes. So remember this: if you don't fight for yourself, no one will. If you don't believe in your vision, no one can. And if you don't take full, savage ownership of your destiny, you'll spend your life waiting for a rescue that's never coming. That's not harsh, that's reality. But reality is where greatness lives. No one is coming, but you can. And when you do, nothing can stop you. If you're still waiting for someone to save you, you're already losing. The moment you look outward for rescue, you give away the only power that can change your life. That power is you. The world doesn't respond to need. It responds to strength. It respects individuals who decide they will not be a product of their environment, but a force that reshapes it. Every second you expect someone else to fix what's broken, you're surrendering your future. Power begins the instant you take full responsibility for everything in your life. Your choices, your habits, your discipline, your failures, and your victories. Responsibility is not a burden. It's a weapon. And the moment you wield it, you become dangerous to mediocrity. You were not born to be dependent. You were not born to beg. You were not built for waiting rooms and approval stamps. You were built to move, to build, to dominate. The greatest lie ever told is that someone else knows what's best for you. No one walks your path. No one feels your hunger. No one suffers your pain. So why would you ever believe that anyone else should hold the keys to your progress? Look around. Look at the masses. Look at the people waiting for permission, hoping for opportunities, begging to be chosen. That is not power. That is slavery in disguise. Self-reliance isn't a philosophy. It's a survival code. You don't get strong by leaning. You get strong by standing. Standing when it hurts. Standing when you're alone. Standing when no one claps, no one calls, and no one cares. That's when self-reliance is forged, in silence, in solitude, in the moments where everyone else would fold but you choose to rise. And let me be clear, This is not about pride. This is about truth. The truth that no one owes you anything. No one is responsible for your success. No one is obligated to believe in your vision. But you are. That's your job. That's your role. That's your mission. No mentor will make the decision for you. No strategy will work unless you do. No plan matters if you lack the will to execute it. Stop handing away your strength every time things get hard. Stop blaming circumstances. Stop playing the victim. Self-reliance demands that you kill the excuses and ignite the effort. Every ounce of success comes with a price. If you won't pay in sweat, time, sacrifice, and persistence, you'll pay in regret, bitterness, and failure. That's the trade. You either suffer through the discipline of self-reliance or collapse under the weight of dependence. The most dangerous people in the world are not the loudest. They're the most self-sufficient. They don't broadcast their moves. They make them, quietly, consistently, without applause. They aren't moved by criticism and aren't slowed down by doubt. Their validation comes from the mirror. Their confidence is built in the grind. They know that the only thing standing between where they are and where they want to be is relentless self-leadership, and they execute it, not just on the days they feel good, but especially on the days they don't, because they've accepted that real power is not a mood, it's a mindset. There's a point where you must stop asking for directions and start driving. Yes, you'll make wrong turns. Yes, you'll hit roadblocks, but that's how you build the map. That's how you gain the strength to lead yourself, instead of following others off a cliff. Self-reliance forces you to confront your weakness and use it as fuel. It turns doubt into determination. It converts pressure into presence. It transforms fear into focus. And make no mistake, the world tests for it. Every delay, every rejection, every betrayal is not punishment. It's preparation. The universe does not hand power to the passive. If you want it, earn it. If you crave freedom, take it. If you dream of success, pursue it with everything you've got. Not with dependence, not with hope, but with fire, with force. With the full weight of a mind that refuses to be owned by anything but purpose. When you start moving with that kind of certainty, you stop chasing. Opportunities find you. People respect you. Life opens up, not because it's fair, but because you've made yourself undeniable. That's what self-reliance gives you, not guarantees but weapons, not comfort but control, and control is everything. When you're reliant on nothing and no one, you become a storm, untouchable, unstoppable, not because everything goes your way, but because no matter what comes, you keep going, you adapt, you learn, you outlast. Your strength is no longer based on circumstances. It's built into your character. You don't collapse under pressure. You welcome it, because you've been through worse, and you've walked through fire alone. That's the level where success starts to stick. That's the level where your name starts to mean something. So if you're tired of being overlooked, tired of waiting, tired of wondering when it's your turn, stop. Stop waiting. Stop asking. Stop hoping. Start demanding from yourself, from your effort, from your mindset. Make today the day you stop needing help and start becoming the help. You are the answer. You are the solution. And you have always been enough, if only you had the courage to act like it. The world does not belong to those who wait. It belongs to those who take it with both hands and refuse to let go. Not someday. Not after someone shows up. Now desperation is not your enemy. It is your ignition point. It's the moment when you've had enough, when the pain outweighs the fear, and something inside you snaps awake. Desperation doesn't weaken you. It reveals the raw truth about who you really are when everything is on the line. When your back is against the wall, when there's no one left to call, when every door has slammed shut in your face, that is when the fire starts. That is when real decisions are made. That is when people stop pretending and start producing. You don't grow when life is comfortable. You grow when life gives you no choice but to fight or die. Desperation strips away the illusion. It takes everything soft and fragile inside you and either burns it out or forges it into steel. When you hit that level of hunger, when your dreams aren't just something you want, but something you need like air, that's when motion begins. That's when comfort becomes unbearable and average becomes a curse. You either move or you suffocate. You either evolve or you break. And the beautiful thing about desperation is that it doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't ask if you're ready. It simply dares you to rise. Because when you're desperate, you don't have time to worry what people think. You don't have time to seek approval. You act, you grind. You create a way out with your bare hands. You weren't meant to be rescued. You were meant to be reborn. Desperation is the rebirth of warriors, the starting point for legends. No one starts with perfect conditions. No champion begins with a clear path. They begin in chaos, in pain, in failure. But in that darkness they find clarity, they find hunger, they find drive. The kind of drive that can't be taught, only triggered. And once it's triggered, once desperation lights that fire, nothing can put it out. Not doubt, not fatigue, not rejection. It becomes your reason. It becomes your edge. While others are waiting for ideal moments, you create your own moment because waiting is a luxury you no longer afford. Desperation makes you dangerous because the man who has nothing to lose cannot be controlled. He doesn't fear judgment. He doesn't ask permission. He only moves forward. There is a terrifying kind of power in being at the bottom and realizing you're still alive, that you still have breath, that you can still fight. And if you can fight, you can win. You just have to stop mourning what you lost and start building what comes next. You have to stop looking at your pain like a curse and start treating it like fuel. Because every moment of suffering is sharpening your edge. Every moment of lack is forcing your focus. Every closed door is teaching you how to break through walls comfort lies. It whispers that you can take it slow, that someone will help, that you have time. Desperation screams the truth. You are out of time and no one is coming. Move now. This is not about surviving. This is about taking control. Because when you let desperation guide your discipline, when you take the urgency and turn it into execution, you shift the entire direction of your life. You stop being a passenger. You become a threat, not just to your limits, but to every version of you that ever settled. You declare war on the version of yourself that accepted less, that hesitated, that waited for the right mood, the right motivation, the right moment. Desperation gives you none of those, but it gives you the only thing that matters, an unbreakable will to rise. It's not supposed to feel good. It's supposed to wake you up. The panic, the pressure, the overwhelming feeling that everything might fall apart, that's not the end. That's the beginning. That's the place most people run from, but if you face it, if you stand your ground in it, something changes. You stop caring about petty distractions. You stop chasing comfort. You stop giving your energy to what doesn't move the needle. You start acting like everything matters, because it does. Every second counts. Every decision shapes you. Every move becomes part of your escape. And when you live with that kind of focus, progress becomes inevitable. Most people want breakthrough without breakdown. They want success without sacrifice. They want rewards without risk. But desperation doesn't offer those options. It puts you in the furnace and lets the fire do its work. You either melt or you're molded. And if you're molded, nothing can touch you. Because you didn't read about strength in a book. You earned it. You lived it. You bled for it. You clawed your way forward when everything screamed for you to quit. That kind of desperation becomes a scar you wear with pride, because it means you refuse to give in. This is not about hope. Hope is passive. Hope waits. This is about force. This is about burning the boats and deciding that you will find a way or die trying. That level of obsession scares people. It makes them uncomfortable. Let it, because while they sleep, you grind. While they talk, you move. While they wish, you build. Desperation doesn't allow you to quit. It keeps whispering, louder than fear, louder than pain, louder than doubt. Keep going, keep fighting, keep pushing, because you're not done, because you're not finished. Because you know that the only way out is through, and you are not turning back. No one owes you anything, and the moment you accept that is the moment you step into your true power. The world doesn't care about your intentions, your backstory, or your potential. It responds only to results. The sooner you stop expecting applause for effort, the faster you'll build something worth applauding. The harsh truth is this: life is not fair, It's not sentimental, and it does not wait for you to catch up. If you're still clinging to the idea that someone should help you, guide you, or give you a break, you're delaying your rise. Nobody is obligated to believe in your dream. Nobody is responsible for carrying your weight. That job falls on you, and only you, when you operate under the illusion that something is owed to you, you paralyze yourself. You shift blame. You wait. You complain. And while you're standing still, someone else is moving. Someone with less talent, fewer resources, and more hunger is taking what you're still praying for. Because they stopped hoping and started working. Because they realized no one was coming and made a decision to move anyway. This world doesn't hand out favors. It rewards those who grind when no one is watching, who sacrifice when no one is clapping, and who stay the course even when no one else believes in it. Entitlement is poison. It tells you that you've done enough. It convinces you that the universe owes you for your pain, your patience, or your persistence. But pain isn't payment. Time isn't currency. And persistence without production is just stubborn failure. Life doesn't give trophies for surviving. It gives rewards to those who create, execute, and produce results despite the odds, despite the struggle, despite the silence. You're not being ignored, you're being tested. And most fail that test because they expect validation before value. But success doesn't work that way. You must create value long before you're seen, long before you're respected, and often long before you're even acknowledged. You're not behind because people overlooked you. You're behind because you waited for someone to pick you. You waited for permission. You waited for support. And in that waiting, you let time pass. You let chances die. You let the fire inside you dim, hoping someone else would relight it. But here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. You're not owed a damn thing. Not attention, not help, not encouragement. And the more you understand that, the more you free yourself from the chains of disappointment, comparison, and resentment. You stop measuring what you deserve and start earning what you want. The people who win in life are not the most talented, the most educated, or the most gifted. They're the ones who took nothing for granted and never waited for a handout. They moved forward when it hurt. They pushed when it didn't make sense. They built when there was no guarantee it would work. That kind of mindset is rare because it requires radical ownership. It means owning your time, your habits, your effort, and your outcome without blaming anyone or anything for the gap between where you are and where you want to be. People will let you down. They'll forget their promises. They'll underestimate you, dismiss you, and walk away when things get hard. And that's okay, because the moment you realize that it's not their job to believe in you, you stop needing them to. You stop chasing external approval and start building internal strength. You stop giving your power away every time someone disappoints you. You stop expecting people to carry you and finally start carrying yourself. That is when the shift happens. That is when you stop being a victim of your circumstances and start becoming a creator of your future. It's not easy. It's not supposed to be. There will be days where the silence is deafening, where the grind feels thankless, where nothing moves and everything feels pointless. But you keep going anyway, because you understand that quitting won't make it easier, complaining won't make it better, and blaming won't make you stronger. What will make you stronger is doing the work, whether anyone sees it or not, whether anyone cares or not, because eventually the results will speak for you. The outcome will validate you, and the success that seemed impossible will become inevitable, not because it was given to you, but because you refused to stop chasing it when there was no one around to cheer you on. You don't need sympathy, you don't need handouts, you need responsibility. Because responsibility turns pain into power. It turns loss into fuel. It turns rejection into redirection. You learn to take what's broken and build with it. You learn to carry your own weight and lift even more. And that level of self-leadership becomes your edge. It becomes your advantage. While others are waiting to be chosen, you've already chosen yourself. While others are asking for support, you've already created your own foundation. While others are hoping, you're executing. And that's the difference. No one owes you an opportunity. You create them. No one owes you support. You build it. No one owes you understanding. You stay focused anyway. Because when you accept that nothing is owed, you start operating at a level most people never reach. A level where you're no longer dependent on motivation, on compliments, or on circumstances. You're driven by discipline, by vision, by hunger. And that hunger will take you further than any favor ever could, so stop asking why life hasn't given you more. Start asking what you're doing with what you have. Stop waiting for something to change. Start becoming the change. Stop counting on someone else to fix it. Start building the life no one thought you could. Because once you understand that no one owes you anything, you'll realize that you owe yourself everything. Discipline is the savior you're seeking, but most ignore it because it doesn't shout, it whispers. It doesn't promise overnight results, it guarantees long-term transformation. It doesn't feel good in the moment, but it creates a life that does. You're not lacking motivation, you're lacking consistency. You're not failing because of your potential, you're failing because you still think feelings matter more than follow through. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't wait for inspiration. It shows up when everything in you wants to quit. And that is what separates the people who talk about success from the ones who actually build it. You don't need a miracle. You need a routine. You need habits that ignore emotion and obey execution. You need to rise when it's dark, move when it's hard, and grind when it's boring. That's discipline. It's not exciting. It's not glamorous. But it's what winners use when others are still searching for shortcuts. Everyone wants to win until they meet the price. Discipline is the price, and the only way to pay it is daily. You can't fake it, you can't borrow it, you either build it or you break. Discipline is what keeps you going long after the spark of motivation burns out. Every time you choose what's easy over what's necessary, you weaken your future. You trade progress for comfort, and that's the real reason most people stay stuck. They believe comfort is a reward, but comfort is the enemy of greatness. Discipline pulls you out of comfort and forces you to confront the truth. That truth is simple. If you don't control your day will control you. If you don't lead your mind will betray you. If you don't govern your actions, you'll become a slave to circumstance. Discipline isn't punishment, it's protection. It protects you from regret, from mediocrity, from the silent pain of knowing you could have done more but didn't. You can't master anything without mastering yourself first. Discipline is self-mastery in motion. It's the daily commitment to doing what must be done, regardless of distraction, delay, or discomfort. That's what changes your body. That's what builds your wealth. That's what sharpens your focus. Discipline is what makes you dangerous, not because you're perfect, but because you're relentless. You keep showing up. You keep pushing. You keep elevating. While others make excuses, you build momentum. And that momentum, once it gains speed, becomes unstoppable. Success is not built in leaps. It's built in inches. In the small, thankless actions repeated until they become reflex. That's discipline. It's doing what's required when no one's watching, when no one's validating, when no one's congratulating. Most people collapse in that silence. They need recognition to keep moving. But discipline doesn't need applause. It moves in quiet. It's born in solitude and forged in repetition. If you want something great, you need to become someone who can handle the grind without needing glory. That's the edge discipline gives you. You will not always feel inspired. You will not always feel strong. But discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It demands that you act. And through that action, you gain strength. Through that action, you shape identity. The more you do what you say you'll do, the more powerful you become. That's how confidence is built, not through praise, but through proof. Proof that you can rely on yourself. Proof that when it gets hard, you don't fold. Proof that when everything screams quit, you keep going. That's the discipline difference. And it changes everything. You can't build a legacy off of emotion. You build it through consistency, through choosing structure over chaos, order over impulse. The disciplined man does not need to be motivated because his standard is non-negotiable. He moves because the mission requires it, because the goals demand it, because excellence is the only language he speaks. And while others burn out chasing highs, he remains steady, focused, untouchable. That steadiness compounds. That focus compounds, and over time it creates results so undeniable that they no longer ask if you're capable. They wonder how you did it. Every excuse you've made is just a lack of discipline in disguise. Every missed opportunity, every broken promise to yourself, every delay in action, it all traces back to the same root, a decision not to be disciplined. But that can change right now. Not next week, not next year, right now. You don't need more information. You need execution. You don't need more motivation. You need structure. Set the standard. Set the schedule. Then guard it like your life depends on it, because it does. Your future is being shaped by your habits. And if your habits are weak, so is your future. You want freedom? Earn it. Discipline is the path to freedom. The more disciplined you are with your time, your body, your mind, the more freedom you gain in every area of life. Most people think freedom is doing what they want. That's chaos. Real freedom is doing what must be done without being forced. Real freedom is knowing you control your thoughts, your actions, your outcomes. That only comes from discipline. And once you taste that kind of power, you'll never go back to waiting for inspiration. You'll never again rely on luck, timing, or emotions. You'll rely on work, on repetition, on the unbreakable mindset of someone who doesn't hope things will happen. They make them happen. Discipline is not a trait. It's a choice. It's not something you're born with. It's something you build. One action at a time, one commitment at a time. You can start now, right now, not tomorrow, not when you feel like it, now. Because every second you delay, you train yourself to break your own word. But every second you commit, you train yourself to dominate. And domination doesn't come to those who try when it's convenient. It comes to those who conquer when it's hard. Discipline is the quiet savior that will never abandon you. But first you must choose it. And once you do, never let go. You are the solution. No one else, no other force, no external miracle. The answer you're looking for has been staring at you in the mirror every day you've doubted, delayed, and depended. You keep searching for something outside to fix what's inside, but it doesn't work that way. No mentor, no strategy, no amount of motivation can replace what only you can do. Until you take responsibility for the results you're not getting, nothing changes. Nothing improves. Nothing moves. You are the starting point, the engine, the fire. Waiting for a breakthrough is wasting your time. You are the breakthrough. This world doesn't reward potential. It rewards proof, and that proof begins the moment you stop outsourcing your progress. The moment you say, if it is to be, it's up to me. You don't need another course. You don't need someone to drag you out of bed. You need to wake up to the truth that your life is being built or destroyed by the choices you make every single day. Not someday, not next month. Today, right now. You have the power to create or collapse, to rise or retreat, to lead or follow. And that decision every time is yours. You are not a victim of your past. You are the architect of your future. But architects don't blame the tools. They pick them up and get to work. You've been equipped with a mind that can solve, a will that can endure, and a spirit that can rise. But none of it matters until you act, until you stop rehearsing what could go wrong and start executing on what you know must be done. Fear will visit, doubt will whisper, and resistance will show up, but none of them have authority unless you hand it to them. You have the final say in who wins. The fear or the fighter. You are the answer to every excuse, the antidote to every delay, the solution to every problem that keeps repeating in your life. If the problem keeps showing up, it's not fate, it's feedback. It's your life screaming at you to do something different, to stop ignoring the call to grow, to stop escaping the pressure and start transforming it into power. No one is meant to carry your burden but you. That's not punishment, it's privilege. Because when you carry it, you control it. And when you control it, you conquer it. Nobody is coming to fix it for you. That's a gift, not a curse. Because when nobody comes, it means there are no limits except the ones you place on yourself. No ceiling except the one you refuse to break. The moment you stop waiting for approval, permission, or the perfect moment, you reclaim the one thing most people never realize they've given away: control. And with control comes clarity. And with clarity comes execution. And with execution comes transformation. Every limitation you believe in, is self-imposed. Every label you wear, every lie you accepted, every weakness you repeat, it all dissolves the second you decide to stop being a servant to your excuses. Because no matter how dark your past was, your future is unwritten. And it will stay unwritten until you take the pen and declare, I'm done blaming. I'm done waiting. I'm done hoping. I'm ready to become. That shift in language isn't just psychological. It's revolutionary. Because once you believe you are the solution, you stop negotiating with mediocrity. Your results will always reflect your standards. If you want more, raise them. Stop accepting the bare minimum from yourself. Stop tolerating laziness disguised as self-care. Stop excusing the habits that are killing your potential. You don't rise by accident. You rise because you demanded it from yourself. You demanded focus when it was easier to scroll. You demanded movement when it was easier to sit. You demanded discipline when your body begged for comfort. That inner demand is the solution. That unshakable standard is the path. No secret formula, just work. Relentless, intentional, unyielding work success is not reserved for the gifted. It is built by the driven. And drive is not something you wait for. It's something you choose. You choose it in the cold mornings, in the lonely nights, in the painful repetitions that no one claps for, and while others complain about how unfair life is, you're in the shadows sharpening your edge, not because it's easy, but because you know no one can stop the man who knows he's the answer, who knows that failure isn't final, that setbacks are setups, and that pressure is just preparation for power. It's not your circumstances, it's your choices. It's not your lack of time, it's your lack of priorities. It's not what's missing, it's what you're not mastering. And every day you delay, you reinforce the belief that you're not enough. But the truth is, you've always been enough. You just haven't demanded enough from yourself. You've just underestimated what could happen if you stopped waiting for someone to pull you up and started climbing with your own hands. You've just forgotten that the storm is not here to break you, it's here to build you. And you are not the victim of it. You are the one who walks through it and emerges stronger, so stop looking for heroes. Stop waiting for signs. Stop chasing shortcuts. You are the solution. Your hands, your mind, your choices. You don't need rescue. You need resolve. You don't need luck. You need leverage. You don't need a savior. You need standards. Every single thing you want is within reach. But it will only be yours when you decide you're done asking and ready to take. This is your moment. This is your mission. And this is your time to rise, not because someone gave you permission, but because you finally understood you were the solution all along. Success demands ruthless action, not someday action, not when it's convenient action, ruthless, immediate, focused, relentless, that kind of action that doesn't wait for a guarantee, doesn't beg for approval, and doesn't slow down when it gets hard. You don't get to dream your way into success. You fight. You show up without apologies, without weakness, without hesitation. While others are still planning, still talking, still doubting, you execute, because you understand that nothing moves until you do. Your vision is meaningless without the muscle to back it up. And that muscle is action you can think all day. You can strategize, analyze, meditate, but if you won't move, none of it matters. Success doesn't respond to thoughts. It responds to motion. And not just any motion, precise, violent, obsessed action that cuts through resistance like a blade. If you want to win, you need to move like it. You need to act with the urgency of someone who knows time doesn't wait and success doesn't care how tired you are. Ruthless action means doing what has to be done, not what you feel like doing. Ruthless action means trading comfort for conquest. There is no glory in hesitation. There is no power in delay. You don't become great by taking days off from your destiny. You don't rise by waiting for conditions to be perfect. The storm never stops. The resistance never fades. And the people who win are the ones who move anyway, who charge forward anyway, who refuse to be paralyzed by fear, failure, or fatigue. Ruthless action is how you break through. It's how you separate yourself. It's how you become undeniable, not because you had help, but because you wouldn't stop. You must be willing to offend your old self, to destroy the habits that keep you soft, to abandon the distractions that keep you average. Ruthless action doesn't make room for weakness. It doesn't sympathize with excuses. It doesn't wait for motivation. It crushes, it climbs, it conquers. If it's in the way, it's removed. If it's slowing you down, it gets replaced. If it doesn't serve the goal, it dies. That's the mindset of someone who truly wants to win. They don't adjust their ambition to match their habits. They adjust their habits to match the size of their ambition. Success is not emotional. It doesn't care how you feel. It only cares what you do. You either pay the price or you don't get the prize. That price is paid in sweat, in hours no one sees, in efforts no one claps for, in sacrifices most people won't make. Ruthless action is lonely. It's brutal. It demands your full focus and it gives you nothing in return at first. But over time it builds something unshakable. It builds resilience. It builds results. It builds reputation. And that reputation opens doors effort alone never could. You've wasted enough time thinking. You've doubted long enough. You've delayed your greatness with thoughts of what if and one day and when I'm ready. Here's the truth, you'll never be ready. No one is. You act anyway. You build while you bleed. You step forward while your knees shake. Ruthless action isn't about having everything figured out. It's about deciding that failure doesn't scare you more than regret. It's about refusing to die with your potential still locked inside. It's about knowing that bold moves bring big rewards. But only for the brave. You don't compete by being cautious. You dominate by being dangerous, not reckless, focused, calculated, ruthless. Every second you hesitate, someone else is getting closer to what you said you wanted. Every time you choose ease, someone else chooses growth. And every time you delay, you train your mind to believe your dreams don't matter. Ruthless action retrains that mind. It says, this matters, now. No matter how it feels, and eventually your results will prove it was worth it. But until then, your action must prove it. First, burn the plan B. Cut the safety net. Stop telling yourself there's always tomorrow. Tomorrow is a myth for the passive. All that exists is now, the moment, the opening, the choice. You can either move or you can make excuses, but not both. Success is not complicated. It's just not easy. The equation is clear, consistent, relentless. Intentional action equals progress. Progress, compounded daily, equals transformation. And transformation over time equals domination. But none of that happens without movement. Ruthless action requires you to lead yourself. No one's coming to push you. No one's going to build it for you. You must be your own spark, your own momentum, your own force of nature. You must become obsessed with execution, with finishing what you start, with doing what others won't so you can live how others can't. This isn't about ego. It's about legacy. It's about taking your life so seriously that nothing short of extraordinary will do. And that standard, it can only be enforced through action. You can't afford to be polite with your potential. You can't afford to be gentle with your time. Success is brutal, and it demands that you match its intensity, not with words, with action. Ruthless, deliberate, powerful action. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters again and again with total commitment. And when it hurts, you keep going. When it's quiet, you keep building. When no one believes in you, you double down, because your results won't lie. They'll either prove you moved with urgency or that you stood still with excuses. Excuses are the chains of the weak. They wrap around the mind like vines, slowly choking the fire out of every dream, every ambition, every ounce of potential. They disguise themselves as logic, but they are lies. They wear the mask of reason, but they are fear. Every excuse is a decision to stay where you are, to surrender your power, to accept less than what you're capable of. The weak lean on excuses like crutches, pretending they can't move when the truth is, they just won't. They choose comfort over courage, and that choice becomes their prison. You were not born to rationalize failure. You were born to overcome it. But that can only happen when you stop feeding the voice that says, not yet, not me, or not possible. That voice is a liar. It's not there to protect you. It's there to pacify you. Excuses are clever, seductive, and deadly. They whisper you deserve rest when what you need is resistance. They say you've done enough when greatness demands more. They pretend to be self-care, but they're self-sabotage. Every time you let one excuse slide, you make it easier to let the next one in. And soon, your life becomes a chain of regrets, forged by your own hands. You can't be strong and make excuses. Strength doesn't compromise. It doesn't explain. It acts. It endures. It fights through the friction. Excuses remove that edge. They numb your hunger. They soften your ambition. They transform warriors into watchers, creators into consumers, lions into sheep. You either find a way or you find an excuse, and the choice echoes through every area of your life. The man who lets one excuse live will watch his dreams die. People love to talk about what they would do if they had more time, if they had more support, if they had more money, more luck, more knowledge. But it's never the resources. It's the refusal to take responsibility. Excuses are easier than action, and that's why most people use them. They would rather defend their limitations than destroy them. They would rather be right about their struggle than wrong about their laziness. But the truth doesn't bend to feelings. It only honors those who rise above the noise and say enough. You don't need better circumstances. You need better standards. And better standards start with refusing to let excuses stay in your mind even one more second. That voice that says, it's too hard, needs to be silenced with work. That thought that says, you can't win, needs to be buried under relentless execution. The truth is simple. Your life is the result of what you tolerate. If you tolerate excuses, you will always fall short. You will always have a reason why it's not your fault, why you didn't succeed, why things didn't work out. And none of those reasons will ever be enough to satisfy the ache of a wasted life. No one owes you understanding for your excuses. The world doesn't stop because you had a bad day. The opportunities don't pause because you're tired. The competition doesn't care that you're overwhelmed. You either show up or you don't. You either build or you break. The strongest people are not the ones with perfect lives. They're the ones who got tired of hearing themselves make excuses. They looked in the mirror and got angry at their own softness. They got sick of hearing their own voice say, tomorrow, when the truth was, they had today. Excuses are a drug. They give you temporary relief but leave your life in pieces. They numb the sting of failure, but they guarantee it. Every time you say, I'll do it later, you just told your future it doesn't matter. Every time you say, it's not my fault, you hand over your power to someone else. And every time you say, it's too hard, you prove to yourself that you weren't willing to pay the price. Success isn't for the most talented, it's for the most committed. The ones who choose discipline over distraction. The ones who get it done no matter what. There's only one way out of mediocrity, and that's through ownership. Own your flaws. Own your mistakes. Own your past. But don't make excuses for any of them. You don't need a perfect path, you need a ruthless mindset. The moment you drop the excuse is the moment you pick up your power. That's when you take back your time, your energy, and your control. Excuses will always be there, waiting to be used. So will the opportunities. Which one you choose determines the life you build. The people you admire, the ones who actually changed their lives, they didn't have fewer problems. They just made fewer excuses. They chose responsibility over resentment. They chose hustle over hesitation. They chose to be warriors in a world of worriers. That can be you, but only if you stop explaining failure and start executing through it. Only if you stop justifying weakness and start training it into strength. Only if you kill every excuse before it kills your future. You weren't meant to live chained. You weren't built for a life of settling, stalling, or surrendering. But to break free, you must stop explaining why you can't, and start proving why you must. Your life, your legacy, your freedom, it all begins when you stop making excuses and start making moves. You were born capable, not halfway, not partially, fully. You came into this world with everything already inside you, will, strength, vision, the fire to overcome anything that dares to stand in your way. The problem isn't capacity. The problem is belief. You've been told you're not enough. You've been made to doubt. Life has tried to break your confidence so you'd settle, fit in, follow instead of lead. But here's the truth. They don't want you to remember. You were already equipped before the battle began. You don't need someone else's permission to rise. You just need to remember who you are. Every great transformation begins with a decision to stop shrinking, to stop pretending you're less than you are. Every lie you've accepted about your limits is a cage built by fear, not fact. You were not born to play small. You weren't designed to hide your strength or water down your power. There's something inside you that this world hasn't seen yet, not because it's not real, but because you've been too distracted, too doubtful, too hesitant to unleash it. But when you stop second-guessing and start stepping forward, that hidden fire becomes a visible force. You don't need more time. You don't need better luck. You don't need the perfect plan. You need to realize that everything you need to win is already within you. Every time you choose to act in spite of fear, you prove your capability. Every time you push through the resistance, you reveal your strength. Life doesn't ask for perfection. It demands movement. It rewards those who show up and say, "I will figure it out because I was born for this." That's what being capable is. Not knowing everything, but facing everything anyway. It's not the world that determines your value. It's you. Every second you spend waiting for validation is a second you delay your growth. The people who succeed are not the ones who have all the answers. They're the ones who trust their ability to find them. You don't have to feel ready to move. You just have to refuse to stay still. The power of capability is activated the moment you choose to stop letting circumstances dictate your commitment. You weren't made to react. You were built to lead, to charge forward. To break through the difference between those who win and those who wish is not talent, it's execution. And execution starts when you stop convincing yourself you're not capable. Fear will lie, doubt will whisper, but your actions will always tell the truth. When you move, when you fight, when you push through exhaustion and keep going, the world can't help but make space for your effort. Most people are waiting to feel powerful before they act. Winners act until they feel powerful. They know confidence is earned, not given. It's built in the trenches, rep by rep, step by step. You don't need someone to lift you. You need to stand up and remember you already have legs. You already have lungs. You already have a heart that's beaten through pain and kept you alive this long. What more proof do you need that you're capable? You've already survived what should have broken you. You've already endured what others ran from. Now it's time to go further, to rise higher, to do more than just survive. It's time to dominate, time to lead, time to create a life that doesn't apologize for wanting more. Too many people confuse humility with hiding. They shrink, they delay, they downplay their worth because the world told them to stay small. But the world doesn't reward the invisible. It doesn't remember the ones who waited. You weren't born to blend in. You were born with a spark, and it's your job to protect that flame until it becomes a wildfire. That doesn't happen through wishing. It happens through walking boldly into your challenge and saying, "I was made for this." Because you were there is no force more dangerous than someone who finally realizes they're capable. That's when excuses die. That's when the past loses its grip. That's when you become unstoppable, not because the path got easier, but because you stopped backing down. You stopped needing external proof. You stopped playing the victim, and you started acting like the solution. Because you are. You always have been. Capable doesn't mean perfect. It means powerful enough to rise through imperfection and keep climbing anyway. The reason people fail isn't because they're weak. It's because they keep choosing weakness. They keep saying, "I can't," instead of proving they can. They keep running from the discomfort that was meant to shape them. You are not your feelings. You are not your fears. You are what you decide to become. And that decision is made in the fire. When it hurts, when it's hard, when everything inside you says stop. That's the moment you choose to keep going. That's the moment you prove once again that you are capable beyond belief. You've spent enough time doubting. You've wasted enough energy holding back. Now is the time to act, ruthlessly, fearlessly. Now is the time to silence the inner critic and amplify the inner warrior. That voice that says you were born capable is the voice you obey from now on. Not because it's easy, not because it's painless, but because your life is too important to let fear run it. Because your purpose is too great to let hesitation own it. Because your future is too valuable to leave it in the hands of doubt. Everything you need is already inside you. Every skill can be sharpened. Every weakness can be strengthened. Every excuse can be eliminated. And every dream you have can be built. If you stop waiting and start moving. If you stop whispering and start commanding. If you stop surviving and start leading. You were born capable. Act like it, fight like it, live like it. And don't stop until the world knows it too, so stand up now. Not tomorrow, not when it's easier, not when you feel ready. Now. Because capable isn't something you become, it's something you remember. The fire's already in you. The power's already there. Stop negotiating with fear. Stop letting doubt hold the pen to your story. Rip the excuses out by the root and move like someone who knows their worth. This life will not wait, and your potential will not wait forever. So go forward with force, with clarity, with a mind that's made up and a spirit that refuses to quit. You were born capable. Now prove it with every breath, every step, every action.